Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so a continuation from what we were talking about. I don't think it took me 3 minutes to get in and out of there. I really don't. I just made a quick move, got everything I needed, and bounced. But yeah, man. So valuing what you have and not reaching for stuff. If you're patient, you can get it. You know, it's one of those situations where I look at a certain thing that Orlando did. I thought they had a very good night. If I'm not mistaken, did they have a pick? I don't know if this is the right example, but just the same, the point I want to make is this: Orlando was able to get Richardson at 26. This was a player that could have potentially, no, this is the wrong example. Richardson was great value, loved that pick. The example I want to use was Atlanta and them being able to acquire the power forward that they got late in the first round. They could have used their earlier pick on this player, but because they were patient, they traded down, got a fantastic pick from the New Orleans Pelicans that gives them the better of either New Orleans or Milwaukee's pick next season. They used the pick that they got trading down to take the guy that they could have got comfortably at 13, which would have went well with a lot of people's draft boards, but because they were patient and understood that the intel that they received, whatever it was sound, that they could get their guy, Noel, I believe is his name. Was it Noel? I can't think of homie's name. Asa Newell, that's the guy. They could have got him at 13. They ended up getting him at like 23. And the reason being is because they were patient and they didn't find themselves needing to reach for a guy at 13 that they could have got at 23. They were willing to risk it, is the point. Yeah, somebody could have taken him, but they knew that if they were patient, they could squeeze more out of the value of their pick than just simply reaching for a guy, or simply taking a guy that could potentially fall. If you're comfortable with the risk, you benefit greatly from doing so. But if you just can't stand to lose out on this player, a la Portland and Hansen Young, you're gonna have to have him at 16 when you could literally get him at 30. I just want people to value more than they value whatever it is that they love. Because I'm a guy who was a Drake Powell guy. The Nets ended up getting him in the 20s. I think personally, based on the homework I did and my personal preference on basketball players, I'd have been happy taking Drake Powell at like 13. Like me personally, based on how I evaluated what I saw, I was happy getting him at 13. But as I told y'all on my mock draft, I wasn't about to take him that high. Because it's not about how much I value homie. It's about what he's really worth. It's about what he's really worth based on the market itself, not based on how much I love the player. I could love a Honda Accord as much as you love your Bentley, but I'm not dumb enough to put it on for sale for a Bentley price. It means that much to me, but it don't mean that much to the market. It don't mean that much to anybody else. Nor am I willing to buy that thing for Bentley money if I have it, just because I love that car so much, so to speak. You see what I'm saying? Because I respect the dollar too much to do something like that. I ain't gonna burn money for the sake of what it is I love so very much, for which nobody else values the same way I do. It's not the smart way to do things. And the teams that don't make that mistake are the teams that ultimately put themselves in a position to contend. It's the teams that do make that mistake, or just ignore it. I don't even know if I want to call it a mistake, are just stupid in that way, who don't see that is a problem, end up not having enough, end up being the stupid team year in and year out. End up having to undo mistakes that they made and don't have enough to undo the mistake at a cost-effective way. Because if everybody knows you're a patsy, as we always say, if people know you're a patsy, they're going to charge you up the yang. It's everybody's responsibility to get a discount. So if you're an idiot, yeah, it's going to cost you being stupid. Your last 7 dumb moves that you made is going to make it so that I'm going to make you pay double for something I'm going to not ask Danny Ainge, of GM I respect, to pay double, because I know he ain't going for that. But you, Portland, Yeah, I'm gonna have you doing stupid stuff because you showing me you're willing to do it. This is just like and this is why it's so important to start firing people like this. If you're owners, you can't keep people like that around. You can't be stupid enough to not understand this side of the business yourself as an owner. And then from there, you can't have people under you that you pay millions of dollars who don't respect this stuff. Because there's a difference between winning and losing, and you gotta know that there are people in the league that don't have that as a problem. They're not stupid in that way. They're gonna make money off of your mistakes. It's the essence of what the OKC Thunder actually are. They made money off of everybody's mistakes. They were able to build a very good young team off of everybody doing stupid stuff. So when I tell all of you guys, hey man, I like Drake Powell, but if the market say he should go in 23, I'm not going to reach for him at 16 or 15 or 14. I love him so much, I don't want nobody to take him. But I love the idea of not messing up my value more than I love any one asset in this league. Do you understand what I'm saying? You can't love the asset so much that you're foregoing countless amounts of value just so you can capture that for what you love. Approaching things from that perspective puts you in a position to lose more than you win off the strength of the odds of that being something that you should do more than not. You're only going to hit that shot 1 out of 10 times. That's like shooting from half court. If you attempt all your shots from half court, you ain't winning no basketball games. And so too is the same when you take that same odds approach to building your basketball team. This is so important, man. People like having a lot of different conversations surrounding this sport. But 9 out of 10 times, I'm seeing people make this mistake because they love something. I love Hansen Young. I'm afraid that someone's going to take my guy. You should be more afraid about what happens if you reach for your guy. You know, we talk about the analogy or the parallel between what we said about draft picks and what they're worth before you draft them versus what happens when you do draft them, regardless of what they are. Once you draft a player, now he only fits in certain situations. A draft pick fits anywhere because it allows me the option of choosing whatever fits for me or whatever it is I want. Now you've drafted this player. I, the GM on the other side of the negotiation table, don't really like that player like that. I'm not really in love with that player like that. So your draft pick has now effectively lost value off of the strength of how many places it could actually go. And not being able to identify that area of equity in the NBA is what's kicking a lot of these NBA teams behind all the time, y'all. This is what's really hurting them. This is what's hurting them. It's not being able to identify this type of stuff. And that is parallel to what it is we've been talking about in regards to reaching for players. That kind of value, that I don't have a word for that value, but I guess I call it bubble. It's like a bubble of equity. It's a bubble of equity. There's a difference between taking a guy at 16 and taking that same guy at 32. You've given up a significant bubble of equity that is represented in all different types of stuff that could be possible. I'm more afraid of losing my bubbles of equity than I am of missing out on this random guy who may be a star in my mind, despite everybody else saying he ain't really that. I think he's the greatest. I fell in love with the player. If you don't properly fear losing bubbles of equity, you are not assessing what your job is properly. That's the best way I know how to describe it. I'm more afraid of what happens when I give up that much equity. And as I said already, that equity could be made up if you strike it rich with this player. Let's say I do something like that and he turns out to be Jokic. It could definitely be made up. It could be made up. But how many times is this guy going to turn into Jokic? How many times is this guy with that gut feeling, especially with this front office, are any of them geniuses? 9 out of 10 times them regular dudes, man, their gut shouldn't be what you're betting so much bubbles of equity on. They're not basketball savants in a lot of cases when you see this type of crap. Average guys with a gut feeling. I'm going to forego massive bubbles of equity off the strength of that average guy's notion that he found something that nobody else sees in somebody that nobody else is going to reach for. But he can't stand to have the possibility, the slimmest of slim possibilities, that someone's actually stupid enough to do what he is willing to do. Like this type of stuff, like these are the odds, man. You're shooting from 3/4 of the court. This is why, if good ownership takes over Portland, if everything is the way that if everything is the way I'm looking at it, if this adds up to what it is that I see there, you are getting rid of that front office as soon as you buy that team. And now there may be other goals that don't have nothing to do with basketball. Maybe I'm trying to get involved with something going on in China. And the deal is I draft this guy and then we can get that other deal going in that other area that had nothing to do with basketball. If that's what's going on, then of course this is all exactly what it's supposed to be. And I would never rule that out. But if all things remain equal based on what it is I'm looking at, people got to go. You got to fire these people, man. You can't let people like this be in charge of your organization, man. They're going to mess it up every time. And so that's what I'm telling all of y'all. We got to be aware and focused to say, we are not giving up no equity, man. We're not giving up no equity. We're not giving up bubbles of equity on a whim of an average employee in the NBA who thinks he found something in some guy that nobody else see nothing else in. I'm not giving up all of this that could be made up in so many other areas if just realized properly, so that this guy can feel good at night about going after something nobody else was after but him. No, hell no. No, that guy has me shooting from half court all the time. I'm never going to hit any shots. In the sport that we're playing, this GM sport, I'm never going to hit any shots. You got me playing the lottery with my rent money type stupidity. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And that's what I need people to start really understanding. If we attach ourselves to improving in this area, every team is going to be so much better. Every team is going to be run so much better. All of these players are going to be so much more capable of developing in each and every situation, no matter what situation it is. If people just start getting better in this area right here, what we're talking about. Because there's a lot of big basketball minds out there who are really good at putting together good basketball. Oh, the lineup fits. It doesn't fit. Oh, this guy is really good. Maybe he's great. Oh, my God. Because a lot of people who are good at these things, they absolutely suck in this area. Absolutely suck. And it really does trickle down to what it is that's possible when you start talking about what you want to put together in the future. And the future matters more than a lot of these people are willing to give it credit for. And they hit a full court shot and they think that this is what they should be doing to win basketball games in their sport specifically. No. That one chance that you got of getting Jokic or Michael Jordan, 9 out of 10 times you are going to be getting Nicholas Skidishvili. Okay? Let's just be real. More than not, you're going to be walking away with Andrea Bargnani. More than not, doing things like this. Anthony Bennett. You see what I'm saying? I can't be playing my odds that way. It's the same way I feel about the court itself. When everybody wants to shoot the 3-ball. When we're happy when people hit 40% from behind the arc. That means 60% of them shots is bricking. But everybody wants to shoot more threes than they shoot twos nowadays. How does that make any sense? We got to make it make sense. If we're going to do something and we're trying to be accurate, the idea is to be efficient, then you got to play the percentages. If what you're doing is going to take more likely to miss and more likely to fail, then chances are you shouldn't be leaning into it more than you would something else that's more likely to succeed. But for the sake of the high stakes, 3 is more than 2. Okay, fine. 3 more than 2. Maybe you win that way. But the odds tell you you're probably going to lose more than you win that way. Now, I'm not saying forego the 3-point shot altogether, because most people are shooting the 3, so you got to shoot enough of them to keep up with the field. You know, I liken that to, because you want to drive 3 miles an hour faster than the speed limit, you want to slide over to the fast lane. Like, no, you don't need to be over there in the fast lane. No, you're not going with the flow of traffic. You're still driving slower than everybody in the fast lane. Now you're holding up the traffic. You see what I'm saying? It's like that same type of mentality. And so, like, that's really what it comes down to for me. I for whatever reason, the man upstairs gave me an understanding of this that allows for me to speak this way in this camera, and I just see people just making these mistakes. More than not, man. More than not, to be honest with you. And I've watched my basketball team, the Lakers, make this mistake a lot of times ourselves, and now we're in a space where we're trying to make up for it. We made a lot of mistakes over the years, and that's why we don't have enough. That's why we're always trying to do stuff we had no business doing to make up for what it is we don't have, to make it so that we can live up to some type of win now timeline that we can't keep up with. It's always eating away at our own best interests, trying to keep up with expectations that we've kept for ourselves that don't align with the reality of what it is we've done to ourselves. As a Laker fan, I just want us to reset a lot of our problems, reset our situation so that we can be away with some of these issues that come with just trying to work from a space from which you're in a deficit. You know? You're trying to buy all the best stuff, but you're in debt. So you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you're putting yourself in further debt. Yeah, it looks like you're rich, but you don't have what you need to maintain any of it. You're about to lose it any damn way. But enjoy it while you have it type stuff. Because soon enough, you're going to have to give it up, because you can't afford to keep it. Like, this is the type of stuff the Lakers be doing. And I just want us to stop doing that. This is exactly why I don't feel it makes a whole lot of sense for my team specifically to keep on trying to win now when it comes to this rumor that they got going on right now. Oh, we want to go get Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins is not the right piece based on these problems and where we are at this point. We're not in a realistic space to actually compete with Andrew Wiggins. You put Andrew on the team, you got Bron, you got Luka, you got Austin. You can't keep all of them on the floor at the same time. It's too small. Andrew's 31. He want to win right now. He's in a situation where he wants to compete, just like LeBron James. Well, guess what? You can't win, because the teams that are out there in your field that you're going up against are in a better position from which to build, or further along in their building. Some of them have completed their build, and they're upright and strong. Like, you are not in a position to compete with them, not realistically. You can lie to yourself and tell yourself you are, based on what it is you slap together with your money, and you're going to go out there and it's going to get run down. No problem. You fooled. Until you fix your problem. And as long as you're lying to yourself about what it is that the problem is, you're never going to be in a position from which to fix it. And so that's why I'm like, man, stop all this. I don't care about none of this. Trade Bron, trade everything not named Luka, and draft picks. Bring back draft picks. Let's have a free year where we tank it out, win about 15, 20 games next year, get the first overall pick, and then use the LA market to bring yourself all the stars that are going to want to be attracted to the LA market, because everybody wants to be a Laker. Very simple situation. Very simple situation. But everybody wants to kick the can down the road. We must win, we must win, we must win. No, you must capture the value of what you have on your team so that you can win. You build something that can actually win. Not lying to yourself, lying to your fans, and then failing and then getting the backlash to come with that, and you're still not closer to winning. LeBron retires and then you're in a real bad spot. I don't know why, in being able to foresee that being the reality, I would continue on that path. Hell no. Not if I got any sense. And so that's basically my point of view, man. It's been my point of view with this channel when I talk about this team. I think we were able to recuperate a great deal of bubble value, so to speak, by acquiring Luka the Don for the price that we got him at. I think that was you got so much bubble equity in that situation. You should feel amazing about that. But you're still not liquid, as they say, because his value is only realized in him as a player. And when you trade him, not to say that I want to, I don't, but like as you try to realize that value, you would be trading him for like 7 picks, unprotected, 3 young players or whatever it is, a super massive return. Then you got the value locked in, liquid. Now that stuff can be traded in separate deals. Maybe you can package all that for another superstar. That's when you've become as rich as you actually believe yourself to be. It's just like we said about Jeannie Buss before she sells the team. She may not be cash rich, but what she owns is more valuable than everybody else's stuff. But because it's so valuable, it costs so much to upkeep. So she can run herself into the ground as it pertains to what she has liquid, because she's trying to pay for the upkeep of what is so valuable. It is not until she sells that team that she's able to be as liquid as to be able to keep something that great. And she's competing with people that don't have that problem. Which is why the sell is necessary, in theory, based on what I'm looking at. And so this is no different in that regard. No different. Same thing. Same exact concept. And I'm telling you, man, you can't have people in charge of what it is that you own who are not privy to this part of the game. You cannot do it, man. They will ruin it every time. They'll ruin it every time. And so anyway, man, that's what it is. Speaking of my Lakers, since we're talking, I heard that Austin Reeves is not going to be picking up his option or signing an extension for $80-something million. I think it's like a 4-year extension that he would be capable of signing. And that's well below market for what he's worth, to be honest with you. Well below. He gave us that favor the last time we negotiated with him, which I really much appreciate. But I don't think it's in his best interest as an athlete to continue to take that type of a pay cut. I don't think so. It's not in his best interest when guys that he's significantly better than are making a lot more than him. At some point in time, you just got to capitalize on your life as an NBA star. Guys from his generation retire $300, $400 million up. If he keeps on this path, he'll have like maybe $100 million. Like that's not the player that he's been in this league. That's not who he is. You know what I mean? And while he's healthy, while he's young, you got to capitalize on your value at some point. I appreciate you negotiating player-friendly deals, but only to a point as it pertains to the wealth that you're supposed to be getting from your time as a basketball player. Now, maybe you may throw back at me the conversation where I say money isn't everything. It isn't. But at the end of the day, your body isn't going to be out there running around forever. It's not like you get to do this 8, 9 more times. You know what I'm saying? You got to capitalize when you can capitalize. And we've seen too many Isaiah Thomases who are on the verge of getting big money and they're not able to get that money because of injuries, or guys like Brandon Roy whose career end automatically just off the strength of a knee injury or something like that. They don't capitalize on the cash. They don't get the money. So you don't want to toy around like right now is forever. You got to capitalize. And so as somebody who's an Austin Reeves fan, at some point in time, we got to say, all right, you got to take care of Austin Reeves, the man. Austin Reeves, the athlete, has to take care of Austin Reeves, the family man. And rich is rich, but there are different levels to this. And while you may say he got enough money, if you're in my shoes, I'm not a millionaire. He has enough money. But when you're due to get $400 and $500 million and you only walk away with 80, nah, that's not what we're doing here. That's not what we're doing here. That's not what he's owed. And so at some point in time, we gotta just tell the guy, hey man, let's get a little closer to where we're owed. If you want to leave some money on the table, we always appreciate that. But let's get a little closer to where we are supposed to be. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying as it pertains to him, the person. And so I think he should decline that. He should be making a lot more than $86 million at this stage in his career based on what he's doing. And now it makes even more sense because you got a different owner with obviously deeper pockets, and most importantly, a different level of loyalty pointed at you. That's what it really comes down to. You got a different level of loyalty pointed at you. You don't know what this owner thinks of you. Jeannie loved you. And based on how she run things, you could always have job security with Jeannie as the owner. With you as with a new guy in place, you don't know what his point of view on you is. He might ship you off to Charlotte. He might ship you off to Sacramento. And now you're on this bad contract that you only did because you have loyalty to the Lakers. Nah, that's stupid. That's not how you play the game. And so that's my point of view with him. I just think that at this point he needs to get a little selfish, capture value. I don't think he should sign a bad contract, but I think he should sign one that's comparable to what it is he's expected to make. And if he does that, I think he'll be happy he did and may still be able to keep on the Lakers. But if for some reason he's moved, at least he's making the type of money he's supposed to be making. So that's what I think just makes the most sense for Austin, the guy, the person, the family man, the human being, you know. And given the fact that he has negotiated in such great faith with us, the last thing I want him to do is start cheating himself, keeping that same mentality, you know what I mean? It's a favor when you do it the first time. It's playing with yourself when you do it a second and third time. You see what I'm saying? That's when you start selling yourself short, that type of thing. That's not what you want to do. And so that's my point of view, man. I just think that at the end of the day, this is what I expected Austin to do. It's what I think makes sense for him to do. I think he will negotiate with the Lakers. I think we'll assign him to something like 120, 130, something like that, which is more comparable to what it is we expect him to be. I wouldn't be surprised if he's offered something even much more than that at some point, maybe by a team like the Brooklyn Nets who has the money to give. But given the fact that there are not a lot of teams with cap space out there, I think it's a damn good chance he resigns with the Lakers anyway. Now, what happens after that, I don't know. Maybe he ends up getting traded at the deadline because this is a new ownership. We don't know what their loyalty is to Austin. But I do not find myself concerned that he's leaving the Lakers. I don't find myself concerned with that. For those of us who are worried about him leaving, I'm not. Not based on that news, not at all. And so I just put that out there, and I think that's what everybody else is saying too. Oh, weird things have happened. We've lost guys in those situations. We thought we were going to get Trevor Ariza, but way back in the day, but it didn't turn out that way. And what we ended up finding out is that Trevor Ariza ended up signing with the Rockets, and in that situation didn't find himself winning the championship again. Or did he win one in the bubble with us? I don't even know if he was on that bubble team. But the point was, he allowed his team, the people behind him, to kind of trick him out of his Laker position. We ended up giving that money to Metta World Peace and won another championship. He went on to the Rockets, and that was that. And so sometimes you can let our management, and these players need to be careful not to let their management trick them out of circumstances. I think the same thing may have happened to Ace Bailey based on what I'm listening to. A lot of people say, oh, Ace Bailey was telling the teams he didn't want to play for them. No, he was being advised how to maneuver to get himself where he wanted to go, and they failed. That's what ended up happening there. His owners, his management, agents advised him a certain way, try to maneuver him a certain way, but they didn't really have the leverage to force him a certain way. And that's really where it went. So he did all that stuff just to end up in Utah. I'm sure he probably would have been happier in Philadelphia than he would have been in Utah. But he burned his bridge in Philadelphia trying to get to Washington or something like that. As I said last night, I think he ended up in the right spot. Utah's a better place for him to be basketball-wise than any of those places he actually wanted to be. Now, lifestyle, living and all of that, he might be frustrated because in Utah, that's not exactly where a young brother want to be in a lot of cases. But at the end of the day, if Utah is where they're doing things the right way, he probably should be there. You know, and valuing the right things, choosing things for the right reasons. If you're choosing things for the right reasons, you're going to find yourself choosing Utah before you choose Washington, Pelicans, Brooklyn, any of them teams. So that's my point of view on his situation. I think he lucked into where he needed to be. he's exactly where he needs to be. I just hope he doesn't trick himself out of that position, as I said last night. So we'll see how it goes for Ace Bailey, but I'm really excited about him being able to reach his highest potential and be surrounded by a lot of good young talent in Utah. And I wouldn't have felt that way in any of them other places that ultimately it was said he wanted to go. So that's what I have to say. He's not going to be happy right now. But once he gets to sit down in Utah, get settled in, sit down with Dwayne Wade and them out there, I think he'll be very pleased where he's at. Once start seeing what type of talent he has on his team, how those players start to grow with one another, the ceiling of each and every teammate that he has, based on all of them being damn lottery picks, basically. Yeah, he gonna find out, yo, my team is souped up, bro. We good as hell. It's way better than any team I played on at Rutgers with Harper, to say the least. So he'll get used to it on the basketball court rather quickly, man. Because they got a squad over there in Utah. And they got plenty of assets to add over the next several years. Plenty of picks, plenty of trade pieces and stuff like that. They got it all. So Utah's in a great spot. So, yeah, man, that's kind of what it is, man. I guess I'll consider this bubble equity. That's what I call this, because I really don't know what to call that. Clusters of value that are only realized once traded into tangible things. And it's the idea of what things are worth. It's the market price on my price tags on things. And you capture those bubble clusters of value, bubble value, that bubble equity in different pockets, and you can still land yourself all the stuff that you want and have a lot left over. But if you forego all of that, trying to reach for what it is you absolutely must have, that equity is lost, and it starts showing up in areas on your basketball team. You start looking up and your bench ain't that strong. You start looking up and the quality of your talent ain't that good. Going up against all these teams that keep on giving you waves and waves of different players and different bench lineups and all this. It's like, damn, how come we can't keep up with these teams? Just because you've been giving up all types of bubble equity left and right in these little transactions that you've been making, and all these different choices to reach, and all these choices to let people walk, and all these different things, not capturing the value of these people. That bubble equity is realized in other teams that didn't make that mistake, and it's coming at you on their bench. It's coming at you when you negotiate against them dudes, trying to get your favorite player from another team, and they go with the other team because the package is better. BDL44, thank y'all for watching.